We have already seen how the threads are launched, and while launching, the configuration is given. Then, okay, let me begin. So we are taking an example where I have a picture of size 76 cross 600. Sorry, 76 cross 62. Okay, I'm saying 76 cross 62 means in x dimension 76 and in y dimension 62. This is x dimension, this is horizontal, and vertical is y dimension starting from this. Okay. So, okay, once more. So once more means I am starting this thing. We are calling it CUDA thread organization part 2. Part 2, why? Till now we have seen the configuration, how these are configured, while how the threads are configured while launching this thing, kernel function. Sir, use earphone. Definitely I am using earphone, no problem. So mapping threads to multidimensional data. So I was telling you, let us assume we have a picture of size 76 cross 62, 76 in x dimension and 62 in y dimension. Now I am specifying a block of size 16 cross 16. A block of 16 cross 16 means we will have 16 cross 16 number of threads in one block. So how many blocks we will need to cover all the pixels of the image? I want one thread for each pixel. Let me repeat, I want one thread for each pixel. The number of threads in this image are 76 cross 62. For each thread, I want, for each pixel, I want a thread. I have specified the block size as 16 cross 16. So you can assume 16 cross 16 is something like 256, I think. So how many threads, how many blocks you will need to work on these pixels? You can tell me in the comment box. A comment box means chat box. How many blocks you will need? Didn't get the question, sir. Okay. My question is, so now you have 76 cross 62 picture. That means you have 76 pixels in x direction and 62 pixels in y direction. Now definitely you can launch a kernel with a block size, one block which is having dimension 76 cross 62 to cover all the pixels. Okay, but what I am saying is I have specified the block size. One block can be of 16 cross 16. So how many such blocks are needed to cover all the pixels? Remember, all the pixels should be covered. Okay, we may have some extra threads we will not use those threads, but we cannot have we cannot leave some of the pixels. So in that case, 76 pixels in X direction. As far as the block is concerned, it is 16 cross 16. So 16 in X direction, 16 in Y direction. So 16 in X direction, for 16 in X direction, we will need 76 divided by 16, right? Is it 76 divided by 16? Okay. In that case, what is the value? $76 means we will have to specify how many blocks we need in X dimension and how many blocks we need in Y dimension. Okay. In this way, we will specify how many blocks in totality we need. Okay. So in X dimension, if I'm not wrong, we need 5 blocks. 16 into 5 is 80. 80, so 80 threads in X dimension, 16 into 5. So 80 will easily cover 76, right? Now, how many blocks you need in Y dimension to cover 62? 4 blocks, it says 4 blocks are enough. 4 into 16 means 64. So you need 5 blocks in X dimension and 4 blocks in Y dimension. So in total, you will need 5 into 4, 20 such blocks to cover this image of 76 cross 62. Definitely, he is saying 4, 5, 1 will be the dimension of the grid. Yeah, the dimension of the grid will be 4, sorry, no, not 4, 5. It will be 5, 4. While specifying the grid dimension or block dimension, we keep X, Y, and while accessing, we keep Z, Y, X. So for specifying the dimension, you will keep 5, 4, 1. Okay, 5 is X, 4 is Y, and Z is 1. Okay. So here what you will do is you are generating 80, 64, 80 into 64, okay, which is having some extra threads which will not be used. How will you specify that these threads are there which should be used and these threads uh, will not work on data? These are the threads which should access, which should be allowed to access the data, and some of the threads are there which should not be allowed to access the data. So you have already been doing this in your first assignment, where you have created a kernel function and you have specified a if condition to check whether the limit is within the number of threads or not. Okay, you had a size of your thread. You have also passed a variable n to your kernel function, and in that kernel function you are checking whether the thread ID is less than n or not. That n was the number of data indexes, okay, on which you want to work. So, or you can also think that n is the number of allowed or usable threads. So you specify that condition in one dimensional array. Now it is two dimensional. In this two dimensional, how you can specify? The same thing you will have to do. Earlier that was one condition, now it will be two condition. Okay, here it is what? It is you are specifying that the size is 76 and 62. 76 and 62. For each thread, for each thread, you will try to find out where it is. Maybe it is at 78th position or 75th position. So if at all it is in x dimension, it is where 0 to 75, then it will be allowed to access the data. If it is uh, above that 75 position, then it will not be allowed to access data. Similarly, we will also check the y value. We will try to find the row and column value of each thread. So if the column value is above 75, we will not allow. If the row value is more than 62, we will not allow. Okay, so this is something that we will have to do. So for creating a two-dimensional grid, what you do is you specify same thing, the expression, some expression in x dimension, some expression in y dimension, and then you call the function. Here this p in is device memory, where we keep our data. P in it is, and dp out is from where we expect the output. So in this kernel picture, we want to multiply each pixel value by 2. Okay, so we will see what we will write there. I didn't understand the concept of grid. Okay, see, there is something called threads. In each block, you will have certain number of threads. In each block, you are having certain number of threads, and you can have multiple such blocks. So these blocks can also be arranged in a way. So how these blocks are arranged, we are calling it grid. Okay, just to differentiate between the arrangement of thread in a block and arrangement of blocks, we are taking it as grid. So we can have multiple blocks. Here you are saying that we are specifying the dimension of grid as number of blocks we want. You have a specified number of blocks in x direction, common number of blocks in y dimension, and you have kept number of blocks in z dimension as 1. Okay. For each block you are specifying, I want 16 threads in x dimension, 16 threads in y dimension. Then you are calling the function. You are launching the kernel function by you specifying this organization. I want dim block, number of threads in each block, and I want dim grid, number of blocks, as organized as specified. Okay, you have passed these variables. This is where I am sending the data. This is from where I expect the A noise is coming. Somebody has, all of you should mute your microphone. I am also having N and M. I want to specify the number of pixels in my image. I am specifying a number of pixels in X direction in N and number of pixels in Y direction in M. Okay. So here, if I have an image of 2000 cross 1500, in that case, what will happen? Definitely we will have the block dim comma x 16 and block dim comma y as 16. But according to this ceiling functions, the gridding function, the expression will be executed and the griddim dot x and griddim dot y will be calculated accordingly. है So no matter how big or small our image is, this will be dynamically allocate the number of threads. Dynamically, I should say, organize the threads, or the number of blocks will be specified dynamically. So here, okay, how we will refer to the data, So in C, you may remember for accessing an element in jth row and ith column, you specify the variable name with row index and column index. However, in CUDA C, which is based on ANSI C, we must be aware of the number of columns at compile time. However, we are writing the program where we may not be aware of. So what we want to do is to flatten it. Flatten means linearize it. So what is this happening? So each location typically can accommodate a byte. Okay, yeah. As a result, we want to convert our 2D array into one-dimensional array. We want to convert our two-dimensional array into one-dimensional array, which will be easy to work with. So what we are going to do, you should understand the memory space first. You can understand memory space as your RAM, where you keep your data as well as your program while execution. So when the data to be processed by an application and instructions executed for the application are stored. Okay, whatever the data as well as the program, they all are stored here in the memory. Important is each location is typically having a byte, and it also has address, so, one address for each location. So we will linearize our two-dimensional data into one-dimensional, and we have our byte addressable data. So you may know that we can convert our multi-dimensional data into one-dimensional by using row measure or column measure. In CUDA C, we will be having our row measure system, which is also in C program. In Fortran, maybe we were using column measure. Now we are working with row measure. In that case, it means that you will keep your row, first row. After that, you will have your second row, and then you will have third row and the next rows. So in this way, it is linearized. So M00 is the first address. If you want to access M10, you will have to pass through the first row. Okay. If you want to access 11, it means you will have to pass one row and also one column, right? In that way, you can access the data. So that is what you have to see here. Not a big thing. So now, this is your kernel function for multiplying each pixel by 2. Okay, somebody has used annotation here, right? Okay. So you need not use this annotations. If I will have to use, I will use. If you are going to ask some questions, you can use. So for now, this is the kernel function where you can say you will have to specify the row as well as column. Okay, this is the you have to find for each thread. For each thread, you understand that for each thread you will have a unique thread index, as well as it will also have the block index in which block it is, right? However, thread index will always be unique. So if you want to find in which row this particular thread is, so what you will do, you will multiply its block index into block dimension. Okay, let me find out the x dimension first. So if you remember, there can be multiple blocks in x dimension and multiple blocks in y dimension. So let us find out in which block this thread is. If at all it is in 0th block, in that case it will not have to it will not need this part of the expression, right? So 0 into block dimension plus thread index. If it is in first block, okay, the next block index is 1. So 1 into the block dimension. Block dimension dot x is number of threads in each block, and number of threads in x dimension in each block is block dim dot x. So block dim dot x into the block index dot x. So this will give you in which block it is, and in that particular block what is the thread index. So you will reach the index, I should say, in the it will specify where it is in the picture, right? If you remember, you have to find out for each thread what is the exact position in the picture, right? So सर थ्रेड आईडी कैसे डिसाइड होता है? ओके सर, थ्रेड आईडी, ओके, थ्रेड आईडी इज assigned implicitly. Okay, thread ID is assigned by the system itself. So if somebody is having through their mobile working, okay, all of you should mute your microphone. So here, thread ID is decided by the device itself. Okay, we while launching a kernel function, we specify how many threads we want, and what should be the thread organization, and the device specifies a thread ID to each thread and let it use the kernel function. Okay, so we always make just one kernel function, and this kernel function is used by all the threads. So all the threads will have their unique thread ID. Okay, thread index dot x, thread index dot y. This will be specified by the device. No issues. Similarly, it will also have block index dot x, block index dot y. These are the variables that we have seen, which is initialized, I should say pre-initialized by the device. We are not going to change it. We should not change it, in fact. Okay. So here, when we want to decide in which column it is, we check out the x values of block index, multiply it with the dimension, and then in a particular block, what is the thread index dot x. In this way, we get the column position. Similarly, we get the row position. And then we can check whether this row and column are within the range or not. I want the number of column should be less than n, x dimension, and rows should be less than m, y dimension. Then I can access the data. In dpin, we have the data. Rows means already passed the so many number of rows. So rows into n. What is n? N is the number of, sorry, x dimension, I should say. So number of pixels in x dimension. Number of pixels in x dimension and how many rows it has passed plus call. It will tell you the exact position of the pixel in the image. So you take the value from there, multiply it with 2 and store in dp out, no problem. So here the total number of threads are in horizontal direction. Horizontal direction, total number of threads is block dim.x into grid dim.x. Hello? And what the call variable here, what it will generate? It will generate the values from 0 to block dim.x into grid dim.x minus 1. Okay. So it will allow to work on each pixel. It will work on each pixel and perform some operation whatever we want and give you the result stored in dp out. So now this is your picture where it was 76 cross 62 picture. How many blocks you needed? You needed so many blocks, about 20 blocks. Then there are certain regions specified here. You can see as 1, 2, 3 and 4. Here basically what you have to say is these are those blocks, I should say these blocks are having all the threads, where all the threads will access the data. However, here in this second region, there are certain threads which will not access the data, but in one dimension. However, here in X dimension, you see, while finding the call value, you only have to deal with call value. However, all the rows in Y dimension, it will cover all the values. Means all the values, I should say, for all the rows, it has to execute. However, for some of the column values, it will not execute. It will not access the data. Similarly is the case for this region, where it will execute for all the call values. However, for this value, row values, it will not access the data. In this region, there are certain threads for which it will not access the data. These threads are in call also and row also. So in your program, you will specify both the conditions. In the kernel function, in the last slide, you have seen that you have specified rows should be less than m and calls should be less than n. This will take care of all these things. However, definitely you are seeing some of the threads are there which will not be used. So now what you can do is you can use this information what you have learned till now to process on an image. You will take one image as input in your host program, no matter what language you use, what library you use, no problem. You take an image, convert it into matrix. Now this matrix you send to the device side and perform some operation. The operation can be converting a colored image into grayscale image. Okay, you can convert a color image into grayscale image. What you can do is, I should say, if you want to convert into grayscale image, it will be something like you have to multiply something in red value. What you will multiply? 0.21 plus green into 0.72, right? Plus blue into 0.07. So for each pixel, you will multiply this thing. Okay, can you switch off your mobile? So somebody is saying you have to take the average of RGB and replace it. Yeah, definitely. You have to take the average, but it is weighted average. What happened to this? Okay. So you have to take this weighted average and stored in the pixel. For each pixel, you will have to execute this kind of thing, right? Done. So next thing is synchronization, but we may start the synchronization in next lecture. We will have next lecture maybe on Tuesday. Okay. For now, you can use any of the what we call libraries if you want to import your image, read your image and write your image. Sir, is it an assignment? Yes, this is your assignment to convert a colored image into grayscale image. Okay. So for today, we have seen these things till now. Do you have any question? Last slide. I think this is the last slide. If I have to explain this slide, it means there are in this slide is just showing you that there is importance of having a if condition in your kernel function. Okay, if we go in the previous slide, this is the kernel function. So here you have specified your kernel function. Do you have a particular question for this, or I have to explain it again, the whole thing? If condition. He is saying, why do you have this if condition here? If condition is just to check whether our whether our thread is within the bound of number of pixels or not. If at all it is within the bound of number of pixels, it is okay. So we want to check whether the row is less than m, col is less than n. If row is less than m, it means that the thread is within the thread index. Row is telling us the thread index in the whole grid. So if this thread index is within the range of columns, it should be allowed to access the data. If at all it is outside the range of number of columns, number of rows, number of pixels in the y direction, in that case it should not be allowed to access the data. So we have found the index of the thread in x direction. Sorry, x direction is specified by col. Index of the thread in y direction in row, and then we are checking whether these values are within the range or not. In n and m, we are having the values of number of pixels in x direction and number of pixels in y direction. So here just we are checking whether the thread index is within the range or not. If at all it is within the range, we are able to specify the condition, able to access the data. Okay. Any other question? So if you have no more questions, in that case, this is your assignment. सर इमेज रीड करने के लिए OpenCV यूज करेंगे? नो मैटर, जो भी लाइब्रेरी यूज करना है कर सकते हैं, कोई भी लाइब्रेरी यूज करके। OpenCV अच्छा लाइब्रेरी है, अगर यूज करना चाहे तो कर सकते हैं। अभी मेरा होस्ट साइट पे उतना कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, कुछ भी यूज करें, डिवाइस साइड में डेटा भेज दें, वहाँ पे वहाँ के लिए जो कर्नल फंक्शन बनाया है उस कर्नल फंक्शन पे हमें कुछ ऑपरेशन करना है हर पिक्सल के लिए। दैट्स इट। ठीक है, ओके। एनी अदर क्वेश्चन? ओके, अभी कोई और क्वेश्चन नहीं है तो अभी हम लोग यहाँ पे इसे बंद करते हैं। वी विल मीट अगेन ऑन ट्यूसडे। ये असाइनमेंट सबमिट करने के लिए टाइम मैं फ्राइडे तक का दूंगा, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं।